Never fear, Pam Grier is here.
Friday Foster is based on a national syndicated comic strip that ran from 1970 to 1974, created by Jim Lawrence. It told the story of a former model who became a globe-trotting photographer who has many different adventures. The series was popular enough to get a live-action adaptation in 1975. Unfortunately, the series hasn't been compiled since the 1970s. There is, however, a one-shot that was put out by Dell that is available. Unfortunately, it's so rare that the cheapest copy is around $45. The film begins with Washington, D.C. stock footage with the funky theme song playing over it. Over the next few minutes, we see Friday's grump of a boss calling her and ordering her to take photos of some guy. Actually, I can imagine him saying, "Damn it, Parker, where's my Spider-Man pics?" We spend the next few minutes going from a party to a scene where some dubious individuals trade bullets for guns. I don't think that's how you do it, fellas. Well, Friday eventually catches a flight and gets pics of an assassination attempt. I wasn't aware that wooden crates and car doors were bulletproof. It looks like Friday is the only living witness to this, so I assume the story is about her just trying to stay alive. Question: maybe it's the version I have, but what happened to the music and audio during the car chase scene? The sound mixing seems off. It seemed garbled and it faded in and out. Meanwhile, at the after party, Friday's friend Cloris is waiting for her man. He comes by, but he's dead tired. So after her man died, what did she do? Did she just leave him there or call the ambulance? Also, why is she still angry at Friday? Yeah, she couldn't come to the party to talk to you, but she had to work and your man is seemingly dead. Get over it. Later on, the neighborhood pimp arrives. Wait, Ted Lang? Isaac, the bartender from Love Boat? Well, it's nice that he gave his host their own car. Did that kid just break the fourth wall with us? Also, is he doing some illicit things in that closet? Nope. On second thought, don't tell me. Next, we see Friday finally meeting up with her very tsundere acting best friend. For whatever reason, she just won't tell Friday what's going on. She could have done that earlier when they were on the phone. We now jump to Friday taking pics at a modeling event where she meets up with Dr. Kananga from Live and Let Die. Why is it that Earth the Kid at her advanced age here is more sexy than her models? Also, why do her models seem more or as robotic as my speaking voice? Oh, that's why. In another abrupt segue, we see Carl Weathers sneaking into Friday's apartment while she's still taking a shower. I'm not sure how he figured out which one was her apartment though. Convenience. Well, after a failed murder attempt, Friday is saved inadvertently by a single mom and her kids, and he runs away. Why? Once the mom and kids are gone, there isn't anyone to stop him. Well, after a quick meeting with a disbelieving and useless cop, she goes to Cloris's funeral and Carl Weathers, the silent assassin, is still stalking her. After she IDs him, she steals a hearse and chases after him. Wait, wasn't Phantasm's Himikuda available? Well, after the world's worst car chase, geez, I mean, this came out after the French Connection too. She eventually tracks him down to a desolate building. You know, she was described as having more heart than brains. This proves it. He almost killed you earlier, and now you go after him with no backup in a dark and dreary building with no weapons, and no, holding your camera as a club doesn't make it any better. Now you're running away. What was the point? How are we gonna catch this guy? The scene ends with her being inadvertently, again, saved by a couple of cops who place her under arrest. Also, one of the cops is a pervert and cops a feel on her. I have to admit, I'm surprised that this is the first time that it happened in this movie. Well, after meeting up with Hawkins and her boss, who tells her to stop the investigation, she of course continues it, and in an extended scene where she and Hawkins walk through the airport, cross the street, and then catch a cab. This film is 1 hour and 29 minutes long, and if they didn't stretch out these scenes, the film would only be 25 minutes tops. Over the next few minutes, Hawkins and Friday follow up on a lead, during which Friday gets fed up and tries to catch a cab. Instead, a possessed car tries to run her down, and later, their lead is taken out by the silent assassin. Question: who was this guy talking to on the phone? Is he the villain? The black collar Hughes guy that was shot up earlier? Well, this leads to Friday going undercover at a fancy schmancy party where she meets Scatman Crothers. The way he's leering at Friday, he's not to be trusted. Believe me, I still remember his role from the Scott Baio Willie Ames film Zapped. Well, anyway, this leads Friday to seducing the big man at the party. A little while later, we learn that the white man is behind the attempted assassination of Blake THAR. Over the next few minutes, the silent assassin tries to kill Friday again, but conveniently kills Eartha Kitt instead. There's a chase which even Hawkins questions the point of.
What am I doing here?
Wait a minute, did the film just repeat the same punching scene over and over again? Why is Eartha Kitt still alive? I thought her character died over 5 minutes ago. Well, Friday runs with the last bit of info that Eartha gave her, and she has a rendezvous with Blake THAR. We have less than 18 minutes left in the film, and now is the time to decide to play up the love story. Gratuitous sex scene in 3, 2, 1, go! Boy, I knew this film was going to have a climax, but I didn't think this is what they meant. After yet another awkward segue, this leads to Hawkins and Friday putting the clues together to figure out what the hell's going on. Let's see, the walls of Jericho. The Black Widow means that she has to steal a milk truck and save every black leader held up in a church retreat from getting killed. Okay. The whole thing climaxes with a long 5-minute shootout where none of the good guys get hit. At least Friday finally gets to nail someone. No, not like that. Oh wait, like that too. This film was a pretty easy set. The film had likable characters, comedy happening at odd times, which would disarm you so you wouldn't notice the length of the movie. The soundtrack was great. Even if you didn't like the movie, get the soundtrack. The characters themselves were fun enough, even though there were some really broad black stereotypes. That, unfortunately, is also a hallmark of blaxploitation films. My favorite character would be Yaphet Kotto's Colt Hawkins. He was relatable, a bit of a smartass, and down to earth. He had some of the best reactions in the film. The only two parts that were kinda meh were Ted Lang's pimp. He appears at the beginning and the end, and if he were removed from the film, nothing would have been lost. The same goes with Friday's brother. That said, I didn't hate them. I just assumed they were put in the film as setup for a possible sequel where they would have bigger roles. Now the negatives. There are some quick segues that happened that gave me a jolt, and also even in the Blu-ray version, there are some wonky audio. The way some scenes end, it's as if the writer and director couldn't figure out the reason to justify for Friday being alive, so they were just like, let's just end the scene here. One example would be when Friday's best friend, Cloris, dies, and we don't see how Friday handles it. The next scene, we see her enjoying a relaxing shower. What? While choppy editing was also a hallmark of a lot of blaxploitation films, they weren't all like that. Another issue I had with the film was all the conveniences. Occasionally Friday would be shown as competent, but other times it was just blind dumb luck that got her out of trouble. Also, how Friday finally figures out the plot, it reminded me of the moments in Black Dynamite when we see him finally piece everything together and figure out the plot. One final negative. I noted earlier that some of the scenes of the film just seem to be stretched out really long. In the 1970s, the movies did have a more leisurely pace, but not like this. It just seemed like the filmmakers were stretching the scenes just to get as close to 90 minutes as they could, and they failed. With all that being said, I would give this movie a recommend. It's better than a lot of blaxploitation films of the era, and you also get to see Pam Grier in a different type of role, which is probably why it didn't do as well as her other films. Back then, the type of characters she would play would be very passionate, angry, vengeful, and capable. Here, she's playful, positive, happy, overly curious, and gets in way over her head, and she usually either needs to be saved by someone or by an act of God. I believe that's why this film is mostly forgotten. The audiences back then didn't want to see her in any other role than the ones that they were used to her being in. I think this film should be remade. The character is interesting, and frankly, there aren't any action film franchises that have black actresses leading them. I think Lupita Nyong'o and Danny Grier would make very good picks for this role, actually. One final thing, I picked up this film to review for two reasons. One, February is Black History Month, and I wanted to put something out to celebrate since my previous attempts in the past years have failed big time. 2. March is Women's History Month, and there's a very good chance that this review will unfortunately be up by then and not in February. Also, I want to review a film that had a good female lead. Well, that's it for right now. If you enjoyed this video, just click like, comment below, and subscribe. Also, I have a Patreon for a little while anyway. So until next time, remember to watch more 2D and stop motion animated films and read more comic books from around the world. Venture on.